Okay, now that we know my mic does hopefully work, you all can hear my great and wonderful voice. I'm Tim Baker. I'm here again introducing the show. Daniel's forcing it upon me again. I'm not here by myself, though. I'm here with our wonderful host, and the only other one with me right now,
Daniel Brown.
Yeah. How's it going, Daniel?
You know, it's pretty warm out here in Phoenix. I'm dying, to be honest, but that's about it.
I took 3 showers in between the hours of 11:30 and 5 a.m.
I'm sorry.
Feel bad for me. But we're going to be talking today, me and Daniel, just by ourselves. John's off having a job or something.
Yeah,
or
he
going
didn't even
to sleep.
tell me. He's just like, oh, I can't tonight. That's literally all he said. 2 words, can't tonight. So whatever. Fine, John. Screw you.
We don't have to take this. We got some exciting stuff to talk about today. We're going to be talking about Ethereum and how some problems are happening now because of the fork. And
hard forks. I don't know. I thought all forks were hard. I mean, like, what are you gonna do?
Normally,
like, use a foam fork? Like, I guess babies might use that. I don't know.
Babies don't use foam forks, Daniel.
Tim, are you playing Pokemon Go? Did you see my Bitcoin Ultra Ball T-shirt? Did you like it?
Yeah, it's decent.
All right. That's a compliment.
Nobody should buy it though. Everybody should buy the muscle tanks because Daniel's trying to get me to buy one, and I'm not sure though, but they might just be women's, and I want other people to wear them first. No, I guess it is a men's tank top with Make Bitcoin Great
Well,
Again.
you need Tim, with your body build, you need the women's one with the size of your pecs and everything.
The cover up on top, yeah. But like the Make America or Make Bitcoin Great Again, that'll get some laughs out of your like old Republican people around you who are now like, I love Trump.
They'll probably start liking Bitcoin just because they think Trump does. So
we'll just refer to our episode. Thank you.
Yeah, make Bitcoin great again.
We have Pokemon. You can win over the collegiate crowd, which who knows where the fuck they're going. Most of them are still
to Bernie Sanders. They want free college.
Yeah, so, free college, let's play Pokemon Go. And then for the lowest of the low, there is a SpongeBob t-shirt with Mr. Krabs.
Lowest
eyes.
of the low? This is actually a serious question, Tim. Are you not a SpongeBob fan?
No, I'm not a SpongeBob
Are you serious? Oh, my gosh.
Are you serious?
I feel like that's,
I thought I knew you.
I don't. Yeah, I feel like there's some things like Pokemon, like we were just saying, like there's certain crowds that like Pokemon, but it's clearly pretty nerdy or whatever. But with SpongeBob, it's just like there's no reason not to like SpongeBob. It's just a cartoon that's frickin' funny. It's that simple, and a lot of people watch it. It's popular. Anyway, I think you should like SpongeBob, but whatever. Screw you. Man,
see, this is why I don't like SpongeBob, is because people like you just get angry about things like this.
No.
I'd rather live in a world where people don't enjoy things where they then freak out like children.
That's actually
you don't enjoy the same thing.
That's actually almost
sponge underwater.
Shut up.
It's ridiculous.
Oh my gosh, that's actually almost exactly the reason that I felt like everyone does like it. Because with Pokemon, there are people out there who are like, Pokemon, or like Star Wars, or even Lord of the Rings. That's me. I'm like, oh yes, Lord of the Rings. This happened, and it's so good. But with SpongeBob, the reason I felt like, it's just a great thing is because nobody's quite like that. They just love it. They'll talk about it. They'll laugh about it. But they're not like, oh, that one, SpongeBob? Yes, I gotta get the limited edition SpongeBob figurine. Like, no, it's not like that. It's just people love it.
I'm going to tell you exactly why I have a problem with that, and I have a problem with this shirt, is because every single thing you just described, every single thing you just made fun of, was what my cousin was. And my cousin is mentally retarded. Not to the point, like, he has
Tim,
a job,
that is
but
offensive. Are you serious, Tim? Are you saying that people that like SpongeBob are retards?
No, I'm not. But I am saying that I am stupid enough to make that correlation in my mind, and I just, either that or I just got annoyed of him because he would just do the bits over and then just laugh, and I was like, this isn't even fun. And then I would watch it, and I'd watch other people watch it, and I was like, how do you even enjoy this? So, yeah, to me, I have that, it's like, I'm very, probably a Pavlovian dog thing here, just SpongeBob just makes me go, no, that's bad for you, you don't do that.
Well, so much for not making this plug 5 minutes, but yeah, we got t-shirts for you.
That's what the people come here for. I'm just delving deeper into like why, like this. You come here to learn why I have a problem with everyone being obsessed on the internet with SpongeBob, and it's just you just post any picture of it and with any kind of Photoshop. People are like, this is hilarious. I love it.
It's true. It's true. We do have
you put Bitcoin on Mr. Krabs. Oh, I mean, nobody's doing that, but I'm trying to get you people to think that you should be.
I agree. I mean, we have a certain fan base that, you know, after you listen to 3 or 4 episodes, you know that this is what we do. We go off on who knows what, Pokemon, SpongeBob, T-shirts, and we'll argue about it and rant about it. That's what we do. That's who we are. So anyway, yeah, if you're a nerdy Pokemon addict and you want an orange Bitcoin Ultra Ball T-shirt, those are at ymb.tc/garb. ymb.tc/garb. That's there. If you're more casual, like, SpongeBob, that's pretty funny. And if you're just, you know, you're not addicted, but you think it's pretty cool, you just like it because it's a cool cartoon. There's a Mr. Krabs shirt where he's got big, giant orange eyes. And instead of dollar signs with green, it's orange with a Bitcoin sign, and he's all excited. Make Bitcoin great again if you're really that Trumpian out there. Hey, we got that too.
No, it's also for the people who are stuck. They kind of want to bond a little bit.
Come on,
family.
Tim. We're pushing 8 minutes now. All right, I'm talking about Ethereum. Shut up. ymb.tc/garb. Next topic. All right, Ethereum. So, what do you know about Ethereum, Tim? I know none of us really have followed it throughout the show. We've mentioned it here and there. We've been confused by it here and there. We did just 4 or 5 episodes ago. I guess it was number 128, if you want to find it, ymb.tc/E128. Those are how we do our short links for any episode, if you're curious. ymb.tc/E128. We talked about the DAO hack, truth, and time travel. And obviously we covered the DAO hack, and we had the discussion about how truth is managed in a blockchain. Is it really truth if you can just roll it back? We talked about that some, but now it's actually happened. So I don't know, Tim, do you know anything more about what is going on? Actually, just give us a 30-second summary. Might be a 30-minute summary. But give us, as quick as you can, a summary about what happened what we covered in that episode, what was hacked, and what, now if you know what the solution they're attempting is.
I don't remember what exactly happened. I remember what happened. I don't remember who it happened to. I know that a company, they were putting money into, it was Ethereum or no? It was something off of Ethereum.
Well, it was based on Ethereum, the DAO,
okay.
Distributed Autonomous Organization. Yep.
Yeah, which was something, and that was something that like you could use where people would be voting where to put money, possibly to something, set up like a way to, I don't know, I guess just send money to different things or put money towards certain projects. And because of that, I mean, it had to have money behind it. It had the currency of the system. And someone was able to, with a flaw in the coding, whenever they made transactions, they were able to mirror them, I think. And then
that term works. Yeah, I guess it kind of works.
I think it was just in the paper. I don't know
not
what it
quite
means.
Mirroring, repeating. It was recursion. They were repeatedly able to withdraw money that they shouldn't really be able to withdraw. And so it was hacked, and a lot of people lost a lot of DAO tokens, which represented Ethereum. And so a lot of people lost a crap ton of Ethereum. It was like over $100 million, I want to say. So
yeah, no, it was a decent amount of money. And what they were hoping to do to stop or to try to get some kind of solution to the whole thing was that they were going to turn back just go back in the chain. And
yeah, actually, this is something that we definitely need to cover, because this is something that I didn't know until just last night when I was listening to Free Talk Live, and they were covering this some. But yeah, we talked about rolling back the blockchain, and in Bitcoin, if you roll back the blockchain a week, then every single transaction that happened in that week is going to disappear. Because every transaction is built on top of the other transactions, which is built on top of the other transactions. Now, I don't know the technicalities of the Ethereum blockchain, I guess it is still a blockchain, but I don't know. I don't know the technicalities. But apparently, they were able to roll back only the malicious transaction. So maybe that's a good place to start. Well, just to finish up the summary, yeah. So we talked about rolling back the blockchain, and that is what they decided to do. It officially occurred a few days ago, and that's where we stand now. So let's start with that concept, Tim. What do you think about that difference there, where they were able to just roll back one transaction or a group of transactions on Ethereum, but unless you drastically changed the code, that would be impossible with Bitcoin? Any pros or cons there? Do you think that's a valuable property, or what do you think about that?
I mean, it's valuable for fixing, and I don't think it's really valuable for the integrity of it.
Okay.
It does make it, because just because you're able to pinpoint it still means that you can't exactly believe that it's a truth, or that everything is absolutely what it was at first. But at the same time, in certain things, that's not that might be a good idea. Like, okay, we'll have all this, we'll try to have some security, but it really comes down to, if everyone's just putting their money into something and it's being voted on to where it gets directed to, that's almost like a controlled enough system where, I mean, you tell everybody that you're able to do this, I guess, because you have to agree on it, and you can obviously have problems with corruption come up, because then people can just make it,
right,
just do whatever. But I can see that being a benefit, where it's like, well, even if our security doesn't work where it didn't here, we can just take our funds right back from the person, as long as pretty much everyone else is like, well, fuck that guy, we want our money back. Okay,
so you see that this is probably going to be the main topic of this whole show. You see that as a benefit when people can change the blockchain. You think that's acceptable and okay?
For Bitcoin, I don't know that I wouldn't say it's a positive for Bitcoin. I was saying for something specifically like the DAO, where it's a small enough group, and it's a group with like a focused purpose.
Well, no. They didn't just roll back the DAO. They rolled back all of Ethereum, or they undid some Ethereum transactions. Well, the DAO is on top of Ethereum.
Yeah, but I thought you said they rolled back specifically those transactions, the malicious ones.
Yes, they only rolled back the malicious transactions. That's correct. But they didn't mess with the DAO blockchain. They messed with the Ethereum blockchain. I mean, that's an important distinction. So your argument about it being such a small community, I don't really get where that gets any validity. I mean, what difference does it make?
It has a benefit there. I'm not saying the benefit as a whole. I definitely don't say it's a benefit in Bitcoin, because obviously that's more about being a transaction thing, where it's because it's like that, because it's smaller transactions like that. It's more of a problem. Whereas Ethereum, it's possibly a benefit for some things, but if you then use the same thing to do something else, it's going to be a bad thing, because Ethereum is a little bit more widespread, and at least it seems like its applications can be a lot more varied things. So depending on how you use it, it can be a problem too, which, I mean, and that seems like exactly what's happening.
Yeah. Okay. So let me ask you this. Which do you like better, Bitcoin or Ethereum? Do you think Ethereum, with their whole smart contract and Turing complete programming languages and everything, and its versatility, like you said, they have a lot more varied applications. Do you think that we need that? Do you think the world needs that? Or do you think that's overcomplicating things? Money is the only thing that needs a blockchain? Because that's a pretty common debate these days. I mean, do we need everything on the blockchain? Do we need music on the blockchain? Do we need, I don't know, identity on the blockchain? Or is it just something that is revolutionary for money? I think that's a question that is relevant. So what do you think about that?
I think it's definitely revolutionary. I think, because even if we don't need it, it seems like we're gonna try to at least do it. So I'd say, yeah, it's revolutionary. I'd say we do need, like, what they're doing now. In answer to the question you asked, like, way at the beginning of that, I like Bitcoin more than Ethereum. Probably mostly just because I use Bitcoin more. I care more about that. I have no real deep interest in I just don't care about this that much because it's too new.
Yeah. I agree.
They're going to have to do it, but I'm going to be like, yeah, I'll come back when it works, I guess.
Yeah. That's kind of been the tone of, since we started the show, gosh, almost 3 years ago. That's kind of been our tone. Is like, we mentioned altcoins here and there, and we mentioned Ethereum here and there, or whatever else they came up with. But none of us, the three of us main hosts, none of us ever really got into some altcoins. Yeah, we talked about Dash for a while because it was anonymous and stuff. I have some LTB coin because I thought it was cool to post some stuff and get paid in LTB coin. But for none of us, I don't think that we never really had much faith in any altcoins or in any other blockchain systems. John, I guess, talks a lot about putting music on the blockchain because he's a musician, and so his Bitcoin in the Arts podcast, he covers that a lot. But even then, like, he talked about a lot of this stuff, but he never really got involved. It's like you said, Tim, it's just wait till you figure it out and then come find me, right? I mean,
because I have nothing to add to it. I'm not going to be like, yeah, no, you know what? This is what you need to do. Like, to completely, this is how you're going to track human interaction so that we can actually trust each other for, like, the first time. And trust each other to a level where, because I think you could do this, and it's kind of hopeful, but it's also kind of scary. Because you can take it the one way where you're going to trust everything and everything's going to be on a blockchain, or then we can be like, well, we need less of this, or we'll start like putting like even like a local government entirely on this, so you're tracking it, because you can't be like, we need to have personal national secrets for the local district of Robinson Township. And I think like you could be like that, and then eventually we get to the point where, like, because we're so connected by the internet, we don't really need people lose their need to have someone constantly like watching them, like that's going to save them if someone, like some crazy person comes up to them. Or we go the other way where every single thing we do now is just like, you just put it on this big blockchain. It's this entire record of your life. And then right before you die, in like a room where they just show you a video of all the wonderful, colorful things you could have seen, and it just shows you like a written transcript of your entire life. It'll be interesting to see what they do with it. But again, I have nothing to add to that until that happens. I'm just going to be like, well, fuck, they might really fuck this up, and we'll see.
So I don't know quite how well I followed all that, but I think you're saying the answer to my question is that, Ethereum is, and all these versatility, all the versatility of the blockchain is possibly beneficial, but we don't know, and we really personally, I mean, I'm not saying you listeners shouldn't get involved. If you have ideas and if you love Ethereum, go for it. But personally, we have no reason to get involved yet. I guess that's what you're saying. The answer to my question is, it's not really that Ethereum and similar things are better or worse. They're just not interesting to us at the moment, right?
I mean, I'd say they're definitely worse than Bitcoin, because Bitcoin's a little bit more specified. They're better just in the sense of who uses more, who has more money going through it. Besides, like, you can say that Bitcoin doesn't, like, but then that's going to get into relative what's doing better. Like, Ethereum has so much more potential. Maybe,
it's definitely like everything in life, it's pretty subjective. I mean, it's what do you need your cryptocurrency to do? Do you need smart contracts? Can you use smart contracts? So it's absolutely subjective. But I just wanted to know, mostly I was asking all that mostly because if you think that Bitcoin is better, then you might, I guess my next question would have been, do you think then Ethereum's going to disappear in a few months or a few years? And that is something that I actually covered, did the Bitcoin news show last night with Vortex, which will probably be on our website by the time you listen to this. And yeah, we had, I thought, I actually officially made the prediction. I hate predictions because they're almost always wrong, but I don't know, I was getting a little excited and I had to make a prediction. And I don't know. I think Ethereum is done. Smart contracts might come around again. Obviously altcoins are going to keep cropping up forever, and eventually maybe something will knock down Bitcoin. But Ethereum itself, I agree that it's subjective. I agree that there are plenty of people that are still going to get on the Ethereum bandwagon and the DAO bandwagon. But the existing blockchain, or both existing Ethereums, I think are done. And I think they are way, way less valuable and interesting than Bitcoin now that the hard fork has occurred. So yeah, this brings us all the way back to the hard fork. And I want to get your thoughts on it, Tim, of course, but this is what I was thinking last night and what I want to get out again. The reason I think that it's such a problem, and the reason I think that Ethereum is just gone within 6 to 12 months, is because both forks now have serious flaws. The old fork, Ethereum Classic, the one where the attacker still has all his funds, that's broken because, well, all the money is in kind of the wrong place. It was poorly written code in the first place. Some pretty poor, I guess you could call them social decisions. Like the community just decided to throw so much money into the DAO. Those are some pretty poor social decisions, and they're facing the consequences now. And so that's Ethereum Classic. They broke the blockchain. Well, they didn't break the blockchain, but they let it get out of hand. A whole bunch of money is in the wrong place, and nobody's really that interested in playing a game where that's already rigged and everyone knows it. But the new blockchain has lost its credibility because, like we've been saying this whole time, the whole conversation about what's truth on the blockchain and what's not truth, it's gone now. You have no idea what's true and what's not true, right? It's like freaking Inception because, yeah, you think you see what's, like, a week ago we thought that the money was here, but now it's a week later and holy crap, that actually isn't where the money was. It's actually a fair game again. But how do you know tomorrow morning you're not going to wake up and everything is going to be somewhere else? So anyway, so that's where I stand with the fork itself. I think both forks are now seriously flawed and not very trustworthy, or, just they're not going to work out. I don't think. Like I said, I hate making predictions, but I don't really see why anyone would want to use Ethereum. I almost feel like you got to start from scratch. I mean, I'm somewhat okay with, I'm completely okay with the idea of smart contracts. And I think, I don't have any use for them myself right now, like we've been saying, but I think that they will be a thing eventually. But I think Ethereum is not going to be the one that does it. There might have to be an Ethereum 2.0 that more or less starts from scratch because it's not working out on these existing blockchains.
Yeah, it's because of all this trouble and because of this the problem in the hard fork, and it just shows a little bit of fuck. Let's get rid of trains. Let's figure out something better to do. Like, trucks have got to be. Let's put these fuckers out of business. I don't need this. I'm sweating at this desk. I think we're good, but maybe it's still just rolling around on the tracks, and he's going, woo, woo. All the kiddies like to hear the choo-choo train. And I'm going to keep on going, I guess. Ethereum just loses a lot of, even if it's unwarranted, because I think a lot of people are going to be looking at, like me, which is uninformed, or at least misinformed, and it looks bad to me, so they lose some kind of automatic credibility that I might have had before. So I do agree with you, Daniel, that yeah, it's probably going to be something else that'll do it. But we'll see. I don't really have a problem with them doing it.
Are you tired of Bitcoin dice and ready for something different? Try LuckyBit, the original falling coin game, at luckybit. It's the most exciting Bitcoin game on the web. You can bet on 5 different payout lines and win up to 999 times your bet. You can even use their faucet to get some free Bitcoin. Dice is boring. Play different at LuckyBit. Check it out at luckybit. That actually takes me to a pretty important point, whether or not we have a problem with this kind of decision. And this actually is a discussion, the idea of democracy in Bitcoin. This takes us, I think, all the way back to episode 1. I think we called it Bitcoin, well, maybe it was 1 or 2. Bitcoin in the government, maybe like 3 or 4. I can't remember that far back.
Most famous episode ever.
But yeah, we've had this discussion since the very beginning, and I think it's worth coming back to because we're kind of watching it play out. And let me lay out the issue here. Bitcoin is kind of like democracy. Well, in a sense. I mean, because it's just people, there is a certain level of voting. Now, you vote with your computer power, but it's still a lot like voting. And I mean, yeah, it's not one person, one vote necessarily, but it can be fairly close. And there's a community that just argues forever and ever about what should or shouldn't be done, just like in politics. Now, the reason that's an issue is because we don't really like democracy, okay? We live in a place that calls itself a democracy, or at least a republic, which is sort of like democracy. You get to vote and you get to voice your opinion, and certain things happen based on how many people vote one way or another. And we are not even remotely okay with that. There's the old analogy that it's like 2 wolves and a sheep voting on what's for dinner, okay? Now, this, again, we've covered this before, and the reason we've said it's okay with Bitcoin is because it's an opt-in system, okay? So if the sheep knows that the other 2 parties are wolves, he's not going to join that system. He's not going to vote on what's for dinner because he's not okay with that system, and he's free to just sit on the other side of the fence or whatever. So that's kind of the excuse we came up with Bitcoin, is it's kind of like democracy, but it's okay because it's opt-in. Now, before we apply that to Ethereum, Tim, I just need to ask, does that make sense? Is that a fair summary of what we've discussed numerous times in the past?
Yeah, you're voluntarily joining a society that agrees to work democratically. Isn't necessarily, that's better than just a straight democracy where you're pretty much then forced to. Yeah,
where if you break the law, they either kill you or lock you in a cage, right? I mean, that's the consequences.
Yeah, or just ticket you and just take your money. They like to do that.
That can happen too. But even then, there's the whole thing about, well, if you don't pay the money, then they're going to throw you in prison. And if you don't want to go to prison, you'll probably get killed. But anyway, all right, so let's put this into Ethereum. How do we feel about what just went down? I mean, it's unlikely to happen in Bitcoin, but it certainly could. Okay, there could be 51% of the mining power that outvotes everyone else and changes the laws or changes the protocols or changes who has what money. And I don't know. I mean, I get that it's opt-in. I get that I could leave Bitcoin today if I wanted to. So I don't think there's really any moral issues there. But should we still be worried about having Bitcoin? I mean, is it because people could decide to do whatever they want any day? They could take away my money by a 51% attack. Well, there's a lot of technicalities there, but we'll just say theoretically, that kind of stuff could happen. So I don't know. Is that scary? Are we worried about how it's too much like democracy and people can take control and have power to do things that they probably shouldn't? Is that scary?
Yeah, I mean, it's scary, but anytime you're
Well,
gonna,
does it mean we should opt out then? Should we not be using Bitcoin?
yeah, you should throw it all. Actually, no, send it all to me.
No,
Send it, well,
I'm
us.
dead
I'll say
serious.
us. I know,
No,
and I'm being serious too, but I'm gonna get to settle the fuck down. Yeah, I mean, it's something you can be worried about, just like you can be worried about getting sick every day or dying in a car crash every day. It could happen.
Oh, no,
I mean,
no,
it's
no,
less
no,
likely
no,
than
no,
a
no,
car
no.
crash.
No. You're not going to make this argument. You could say this about anything.
No,
like,
I'm gonna finish
it's
it.
no big deal because I'm just not going to be worried about that. I try not to worry about things too. Every day, whenever I see things that make me stressed or anxious, I try to put that aside and be like, that's just a feeling. I get that. I'm not asking if you think we should, mentally worry. I'm asking if you think if this is a bad thing. If you think
if it's legitimate. It's legitimate.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it is because because any group, anything where you're dealing with other people, that's the whole problem with trust. That's the whole problem that Bitcoin is trying to solve. It's the whole problem that.
Yeah, but why the hell would I want to trust all these random strangers out there that I don't freaking know? Why would I want to trust them to mine my Bitcoin?
Because it's easier than doing it yourself. It's easier than building your own. It's easier than building your own cryptocurrency and getting the backing behind it. Because I think it's the best tool disposable to you if you want to be part of a different currency, if you want to be part of whether it's like a counterculture thing or it's just an interesting technology to get behind. I think Bitcoin is less worrisome than other things because that's the only way you can make this argument is comparing it to other things because obviously you're going to worry about everything.
Yeah, and that's something that I remember. I have no idea when, but I remember saying before how, we're talking about trust being involved in Bitcoin and actually it was even, I want to say episode 9, 10, 11, we were talking about gold and silver and how there are certain levels of trust there because a lot of the value of gold and silver is just social. And you have to trust that someday people aren't just going to decide, nah, I guess gold is kind of dumb. I like platinum better. Or I don't know, anything. So, and then we've also discussed about how, like you've been saying, Tim, everything in life has a level of trust. And really, you have to keep it relative. When you drive down the street, you're trusting that somebody's not just going to veer into your lane and kill you, which happens all the time. So it's not so much about, oh, it's bad because we have to trust people and we have to trust the community to do this or that or not to roll back the blockchain or to roll back the blockchain if that's what you really think should happen. It's not about, you can't just say, I know I told you, Tim, oh, you're not going to make that argument that you're not just going to say it's okay because we could be worried about anything. But the truth is we could be worried about anything, but we don't worry about everything because we trust people. And
that's the cost of doing business with other people is you have to trust people. The same thing with any group is probably going to do something you don't like, but if you're going to join a group, what's going to make one group better than another group, I guess, because I think in the end, a lot of time groups end up they get convoluted because everybody's egos get into everything because people want to act like we can separate it and we will act justly and always make sure that we're looking out for our fellow man. But people don't do that in groups because we're still individuals. And I think something like Bitcoin or things that, because it's not even as much that it's the trust, it's that it then takes the hands out of other people's, it gives people more control over their own life so that then you're hoping people will be more honest and be more careful because this is another person. They don't really have any recourse. That's, I think, the general hope is you're making it more personal. It's not a bank account to another bank. I mean, it's turning it into if you try to make it bigger. But I think the general point is you have to, whenever you're going to deal with anybody else, no matter how much you trust them. And I think a lot of this comes from me. Like, I think about faith, like the verses, like trust versus faith. Like, I don't really trust that silver and gold is going to be valuable. I kind of have faith because it's been shown to happen for a while.
Okay.
There's been historical proof of it happening, which is what faith should be based off of, is historical things being proven again and again. And so I have faith that gold and silver, I can't, I have faith that Bitcoin is at least going to exist. I don't know. I don't have faith that Bitcoin is going to be lucrative. I have faith that it's at least going to stick around for a little bit.
Okay.
I trust that it's going to have some wealth, but I'm not like, yep, no, it's definitely because it hasn't been proven for that long.
I think that fits fairly well with the next question I had. Now, what we just covered was mostly the philosophical aspect. You asked the question, Tim, is it legitimate? Which I let you go with that one because I couldn't think fast enough. That wasn't quite what I wanted to ask, but it was definitely a question worth covering. And I think philosophically we decided, hey, it's an opt-in system. Nobody's forcing you to do it. They're not hurting you. And even if they did roll back the blockchain, hey, you knew that was a possibility, and the community decided to do it, and that's what happened. It's legitimate. Maybe not your favorite thing in the world, but so it goes. That's the philosophical end of things. But your conversation about faith gets more into the practical question, which is, are we worried that a similar thing that happened in Ethereum could happen in Bitcoin? Should we be worried that the community will ruin it? Should we be worried that somebody's going to vote to take away our money? Okay. Should we be worried that the value is going to plunge to zero? And I don't really know if we should be worried, but, I have faith. Just like you said, Tim, I'm not worried, and I think it'll be fine. I don't think the blockchain will ever be rolled back in Bitcoin just because it's bigger and the community is a little more founded in this idea that it's permanent and it's the blockchain, it's history, it's truth. And yeah, we could change it if we wanted to, but that'd be pretty counterintuitive and wouldn't really be helpful to the human race or to me or to you. So yeah, practically, I guess that's all I can say is I have faith. I don't know if it's really that well founded. I have no idea. It may be founded. It might not. Only time will tell, unless we change time to make it founded.
Exactly.
But I don't know. So does that make sense, Tim? Is that a good distinction philosophically and practically?
I think for you, yeah, I'd say I don't think I wish we didn't have to be worried, but this is just me being, I think, I wasn't thinking about this until you said, do we think everyone's just going to ruin it? I am definitely worried all the time that people are just going to ruin it.
Oh,
that's what always happens in groups, is that everybody gets together and goes, well, let's do this. And then, they start, breaking it halfway apart, and then they make
the block size debate.
Ruined. Yeah.
Like the whole block size thing. They could, they have to make a decision. They have to either increase the block size or decrease the block size. It's mathematically impossible to do both. That's not, I guess I didn't quite say that. You either increase it, you decrease it, or you leave it the same. Nobody wants to decrease it. We're fine with that. Nobody's going to decrease it. So the only other two options are to increase it or to leave it the same. Mathematically, those are your only options. And there's people all day, every day saying that if you do this, you're going to ruin it. And if you do this, you're going to ruin it. I don't know. Maybe they're right? I mean, I have no idea. They could. You're exactly like you said, Tim. Groups are, they're smarter than individuals usually, but groups can be pretty stupid. If they get off on a tangent and get hyped up about something, they can do some pretty stupid things and make some bad decisions.
Yeah, groups are more intelligent for themselves, yes. That doesn't mean they're intelligent. You were saying something before about the best for mankind. That groups are very intelligent for themselves and they're good for, yeah, but they're not the best at respecting other people's rights to things normally, especially people outside of a group.
I don't actually know if I agree, because I think it's a pretty common thing for groups to just because there's a whole group of people, then it's hard to dissent.
People outside the group.
Yeah, nobody wants to not go along with the group. Nobody wants to look different or stupid. And so, so they go along with the group, and then the rest of the group is like, oh, you're doing it, so I'm going to keep doing it. And then I'm like, oh, you're doing it, so I'm going to keep doing it too. And it just builds up far. It's like a bubble in the stock market or in Bitcoin, right? That's groups making a bad decision just because of hype, just because everyone is doing it. So I'm not sure I would agree that groups make the best decisions, even for the group itself. I think there's an element of crowd or and that involves kind of irrational hype. I don't know. Any thoughts there? Is that a thing?
Well, maybe the product of irrational crowd hype, the train engine again. But yeah, I mean, I think there's just as much of that in the human, in the individual too, of a hype of just, because it's, what I'm more meaning is outside of it, like a group, like what you said is, it builds up as a stock market thing, like people just do things. Eventually that group has to come in contact with another group, and groups tend to fight, I think, more than individuals do, because people get into groups with the intention of keeping themselves safe.
Okay.
Then because people kind of mass up into groups, then like, okay, well, we can maybe take this from somebody else, or something like that, or Bitcoin, where you're going to get into a situation where people are getting whitelisted, blacklisted, or maybe they're kicking people out of a group. That's something completely different, though, maybe. But kicking people out of a group. I'm saying, like, a crowd wisdom is normally, no, not crowd, but like a group, like people working together. That's why they make groups. Like, that's why, like, that kind of training is so big in the military, is because you're supposed to work as, like the Marines. It's like your I don't know what exactly it is, but it's something like your units first, then the Marines, then God, then country. It's because it's, you work in a group because as a group, as you sustain that group.
Yeah.
Because you need like that around you if you're going to be in a combative situation, but then on that also then puts you into a combative mind normally. Like it's competitive, like, okay, our group is going to take that group. Maybe it's the same individually, but I see it more violently with groups, or at least erupts in violence more because groups aren't as afraid, because a group is made up of multiple people. One person dying in a group is way less detrimental to a group than one person just dying, if that makes any sense.
Wait. You're saying one person dying in a group? What? No, it doesn't make any sense.
Okay. This doesn't really have anything to do with Bitcoin. This is just talking about groups in general now.
Yeah, that's fine.
Groups are willing
fine.
to sacrifice. Actually, this does double back around to it being bad for the group, but groups are willing to sacrifice other people. Groups end up being death cults where the people who die for the group, to one extent or another, like Apple isn't necessarily a death cult, but groups, they get to the point where someone who dies or someone who does something for the group versus someone who does something beneficial for the individual, that person is then lifted up, which is good for accomplishing the ends of the group.
Wait, you're saying, holy crap. You're saying in the group, sacrifice is lifted up, but as an individual, there's no such thing as sacrifice. There's no such thing as serving anyone or doing anything good. It's just whatever I want.
Yeah, I mean, to a certain extent, like if you're in a group, you serve, you work together with somebody else because they're going to give you something, normally. Unless it's some kind of like a gracious, like a humanitarian thing, but that comes out of something else.
I guess that's fair enough, because, I mean, I was saying about groups can get hyped up and make bad decisions. And, you know, like a stock bubble, that certainly happens, but eventually they come to terms and the bubble pops, right? I mean, that's almost mathematically or psychologically, you know, how people behave in a stock market. It almost has to happen that the bubble will pop eventually. Whereas as an individual, if I have no outside influences to influence me or to control me or to help me figure things out or to tell me what to do or what to not do or what's good or what's not good, if I'm literally not in a group, if I'm literally by myself, there is absolutely, positively no telling what I might do or how hyped up I might get or how insane I might go. Is that fair? Like, yes, crowds can make bad decisions, but if you were literally by yourself all the time, you'd make way more bad decisions and go way more crazy. Is that kind of, I don't know.
Possibly. I think that depends on I think for the most part, a lot of, it's just, directioning, like, knowing, like, you feel like you're doing something, like, you know what you're doing, and it's good, that feels good, like, you have, like, something to do. That's why, like, anytime I don't have work for like more than a week, I start to go crazy because I'm like an animal and I need to be directed away from my impending death. And I'm just like, I need to do something.
Yeah. Yeah. So here's what I think. Those last 10 or 15 minutes just now, they might have sounded pretty weird. I mean, I don't know how we got onto groups and individuals, but it actually applies pretty well directly. I don't think we got nearly as much into a tangent as we often do, because that applies directly to the original question. Are we worried about the Bitcoin community screwing us over? And based on the discussion we just had, well, yeah, the Bitcoin community, the crowd, could make some dumb decisions. But, we're never going to get anywhere by ourselves, right? I mean, if I was literally if I never traded with anyone, if I never worked with anyone, if I never talked to anyone, no, that's obviously super messed up and I'm going to go insane. And so I think the conclusion then is, yes, the community can screw you over. They can make bad decisions. But like we also said near the beginning of the show, it's a pretty relative thing. And Bitcoin is just because of what it is and the way it works, we're relatively not worried, right? We're a lot less worried about getting screwed over in Bitcoin than we are about getting screwed over with the US dollar or something like that, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Well, I mean, that was, like I said, we got on about crowds, but I think it was a lot less of a tangent than we often end up on. But I guess we're good to call it, Tim. Are we ready to move on to advice of the day?
I think so. I don't know how much advice I'm going to be able to come up with.
I guess for my advice, I'm kind of honestly tired of talking about philosophy and crowds. We've mentioned that all the time on the show too, how much we hate thinking about anything philosophical, really. So I'm going to take it all the way back to the beginning of the show and make my advice pretty simple. Learn how to keep your plugs short. Holy crap. You don't need to talk for 15 hours about the color of the tank top that might or might not fit. I don't know. Sorry, Tim. I just wanted to offend you there, and I think you could have done better. And I apologize to all you listeners out there who had to sit through that load of crap. Holy crap. Goodness. Crap. All right. Holy crap. What do you got for us, Tim? Let me guess. Your advice is stop saying crap.
Well, no, I was going to say my advice was for Daniel to stop being so passive-aggressive, but he actually wasn't being passive at all, really, so I can't really use that.
Oh, yeah.
It was just out-and-out hatred.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, do your plugs better. I guess make your T-shirts better, too.
Ouch. That was pretty passive-aggressive, Tim. You going to check yourself?
No, you check yourself, Paul. You wreck yourself. Get better at doing impressions of people. And I guess just whenever you're looking at a group to join, or you're going to look at getting involved with something, audit how much time is going to go towards making whatever got you interested in getting involved with the group into furthering that or into doing that, versus how much time is spent in the group making the group bigger, making the group better. Just audit your time pretty much in anything you do and try to figure out what it's actually going towards. That's my advice.
Yeah, that's pretty fair. That's something I've been dealing with a lot lately with a full-time job and the podcast that I try to run and trying to improve the website and the way we run the website and the way we make money from the website and the podcast. And then on top of that, almost every day I come up with an idea like, oh, we should make a website that does this, or I should set up a forum for this. And I have all these awesome ideas, but the truth is, like you said, Tim, I am never, ever, ever going to have time for all of it. And it's a tough thing to figure out how you want to spend your life and what you want to build with your life and commit your life to. It's not easy. But anyway, so I like that advice. And as always, our closing advice, even though we might not say it every week, hopefully it gets across. Come back next week. That's really what it is. Come back next week. Thanks so much for being here. We could not have this show without you. And it's cool to have people actually listen every week. It still surprises me. So thanks for being there. All of the music that you're listening to right now is from Jon Stewart. Even though he wasn't here, I guess his art sticks around forever, as they say, or something like that. Art is forever immortal or something. You can find all of our other episodes and more content, whatever, at youmeandbtc.com. And we'll see you next Thursday, guys. Peace.